I was preparing myself for this moment, not even realizing I was preparing myself for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was always acting as an owner. I didn't really think of myself as a manager. Oh, I'm the owner of this place. Everything I did, it seemed natural. So when I actually started doing it for myself, I wasn't acting. This is just who I was. So I didn't think I had that moment of like, what the hell did I do? It was always, I better get this right.
Welcome to Limitless Minds, the podcast where curiosity meets greatness. If you're ready to discover what it takes to be truly limitless and push beyond your own limits, you're in the right place.
Welcome back to the Success Leaves Clues podcast at Limitless Minds podcast. Yes, Travis and I have taken it over again.
There's clues everywhere.
You thought you were done with us, these two bearded old guys, but no, we're back. We're back because we just have some people in our lives we want to talk to and find out about what led to their success and then potentially learn from them as well. So we're going to do that in just a second, but we got to talk about Nooch Nuggets.
Nooch Nuggets.
We gotta dive in.
Alive. I think we're working on that bed right there, Josh.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
We have do we have a song? This is like Shark Tank when we do Shark Tank it, you know. As I
try. I thought I just hit a banger of a tagline. Nooch Nuggets.
Pretty good banger.
Neutral thinking comes alive.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
What dip are we using? This is what we gotta figure out what dip, and then we gotta kind of just figure out our Nooch Nuggets. But just I can start. I have a Nooch Nugget off the top of my head. So recently, for unknown reasons to me, I got an ice bath. It's all the rage on the internet. I think the algorithm just kind of
you're in that the ice bath algorithm.
Subconscious and then my hyperconscious, and I just purchase done.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I have this thing now on my back in the backyard, and I live in Florida, and it's like 90 degrees and humid, and I'm running a lot lately, so it's nice. I jump in there twice a day kind of deal. But one of the parts that came with it was it's like this little filter on the outside that filters the water.
Yeah.
And it's got a little attachment to it. And I'm screwing the attachment on and I'm getting it tighter. And I'm like, I can't have this thing leak. So I tighten it really, and I break it. Good job, Josh. Way to go. Yeah. So I broke the attachment. Now, typically when you order something online, they put a couple of the thing. Now this one only had one. So I don't know I've got to email the company. And so now I'm frustrated. I'm upset about the fact that this thing broke, but then I'm like, okay, stay neutral. There's other ways that you can rig this thing so you can actually make it work. So I did that. I figured out how to do it where you don't actually have it come straight out of the tub. You have to put it into the tub.
Yeah.
So now there's like hoses hanging in the tub instead of like plugged to the outside. So just aesthetically, it doesn't look as great. But that being said, I was like, okay, what are the next right steps? How do I get this? So I go online and I'm just looking for the part. And there's just like that part doesn't, like, you can't just buy that part. Like it only, like, you know what I mean? Like I went to the hardware store. I went to
whatever you do, don't break this part.
Yeah, basically that's what it said like 5 times in the manual. And I broke it. Of course. Why not? Heck no. And so I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? Okay. So I went out and I got some of that, like that Gorilla Tape. Maybe a sponsor for the podcast.
It could be.
Gorilla Tape sponsor. Gorilla Tape sponsor. And I put that on the thing, but it doesn't still doesn't hold it together. It's still not getting tight enough, all that stuff. So eventually I was just like, what am I going to do? I got to figure out where this company's from, and I got to email them. So the next right step was I'm just emailing over and over and over again. We're in our 4th round of emails. We're to the point where I'm going to measure the diameter of the thing, and then they're going to send me a new one. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. But
I'm guessing
the neutral was like frustration, mad at myself, pissed off, and then, okay, wait, there's other ways to do this. There's only not just one way. Let's figure out the next way. So now I have the cold tub, but it's just aesthetically, it's got hoses hanging out.
Yeah. Well, what I love obviously a big part of the neutral thinking, Josh, is the self-condemnation, right? Which, I mean, like, because I guarantee I'm the least handy man on the planet. And when I've done something similar, whether I've put something on wrong and I can't fix it, or I've broken apart, like there's that immediate frustration in wanting to blame the company. But so much of it is really I'm an idiot.
I'm
an idiot. I'm so incompetent.
Stupid.
Yeah.
It just reminds me. Yeah. But I'm just a big dumb animal, folks. But
yeah,
I think one of the things about actual neutral thinking is grace.
Yeah.
Giving yourself grace. We all make mistakes. We all screw up. We all act too fast. We all think too fast. We all, all that stuff happens all the time. So yeah, screwed up. Okay. Now what's next?
All right. Well, my nooch nugget, Josh, I'm going to dip it in some mustard because.
I didn't choose a sauce for that.
What did you choose? Ice water. You're going to dip yours in some ice water?
No, I think for that one, it just straight blue cheese dressing.
Blue cheese.
It's got a little tartness to
blue cheese bath, right? A little blue cheese bath.
Blue cheese bath, yes.
Yeah.
Molded cheese bath. Delicious.
What a visual. What a visual we're having there. Yeah. My nooch nugget, Josh, is being dipped in mustard because when you're stuck in the airport for 14 hours, you don't trust many other condiments outside of mustard. And my nooch nugget is I went home to see family. I was flying back, and literally I'm going from Flint, Michigan to Chicago, Illinois, Chicago to St. Louis. Combined, so I've got to go Flint to Chicago, Chicago to St. Louis. I should have been home by 9 a.m.
Would that be like a 5-hour drive?
It would be probably 8. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I had it mapped out. I had an early flight. I was going to be home in time to watch College Game Day, right? 9 a.m. Central Time. Let's go. But no. So that morning flight, because of Chicago weather, we got on the plane. They took us back to the gate. Our 45-minute delay turned into a 6-hour delay. And so my brother, who lived close enough, was able to come pick me up, take me home, bring me back to the airport. I got to Chicago, and then it was the seventh ring of where. And every flight was just delays stacked on delays. And so 3 more delays at Chicago. Instead of getting home at 9 a.m., I got home, I think, at 7:30 p.m. And all of that to say is that entire day was an invitation. It was an invitation. Am I going to be neutral, or am I going to let my emotions get the best of me? And even though at times I wanted to let my emotions get the best of me, it kept coming back to sort of that next right step of what can I do with this, right? What can I do with this? I can't do anything. So I can either choose to get upset, or I can find ways to find the joy in the situation. So ended up having a great conversation with this couple coming back from like the honeymoon. They were in Greece and they're young, and like we were talking college football at Chicago, and we're laughing at the number of gate changes. We had 3 gate changes, and we're like helping each other out. And it was like a sense of like camaraderie. And so, again, awesome. that getting neutral, it doesn't necessarily change what is happening. It changes how you feel, and therefore how you respond, and then maybe what happens as a result. And so that's my nooch nugget, dipped in a little of Chicago O'Hare mustard.
Love that. You know where you can get really good chicken?
Tell me.
You can get really great chicken and waffles, actually. Speaking of nuggets and dipping and stuff like that. Especially if you're in the Philadelphia area. If you've been in the Philadelphia airport, you could have actually gotten this done, because you could have gone to where our next guest started.
Wow, that sounds like a transition.
Wasn't it? Was that pretty good? Did that work?
Really good.
Philadelphia Airport. There's a restaurant. It's called Sabrina's Café. And who we're introducing and talking to today? Gentleman named Robert de Abreu. One of the best dressed human beings I've ever met, by the way. Like his shoes and his like collared shirt and belt always match. Like this is just like, he's just put together. This guy's just put together.
Yeah.
But Robert started this little restaurant called Sabrina's Café in Philadelphia in 2011. Oh, sorry. Started in 2001. 2001.
Yeah.
Got my dates mixed up.
Extra 10 years on top of that.
Yeah, just why not? Let's throw them on there. But what's been interesting about it is that Sabrina's Café has been renowned in the Philadelphia area as the best brunch in the entire city for 10 straight years. He's been open for about 25 years. He started it back in 2001. He now has 6 locations open, including the Philadelphia airport and including in New Jersey, and is expanding the empire, shall we say. But he has been a successful entrepreneur with this. We'll talk about it, I think probably in the podcast sooner or later, but in a recent meeting when we were there, They serve the entire population of South Dakota. That's how many people walked through their doors last year.
Crazy.
The entire population of South Dakota. Over 750,000 people were served by Sabrina's Café. So we're going to bring on Robert and just pick his brain about what makes a successful restaurant brand and what makes a successful leader. So without further ado, Robert de Abreu. Welcome back to the Success Leaves Clues podcast.
I feel like you forgot the name of the podcast.
No, I did not. I did not there.
For a second, you weren't sure what the name of our podcast was.
We're recording in the morning. The coffee has not quite kicked in. We're getting in there. We're getting in there. But I'm excited today because we are bringing in Robert de Abreu, who we've already talked about, but Robert is in the studio now. So Robert, welcome. We are excited to have you.
Thanks.
Philadelphia's finest brunch restaurant owner. We're super excited to be here with you. And we got a bunch of questions for you. We haven't had a restaurateur.
I'm the first.
You're the first. You are the first in many ways. Yeah. So we're excited to have you and just want to dive in really kind of about Sabrina's Café and how the whole journey really started. For my understanding, Johnson and Wales, go there, you do that world. I'm going to get to that in a second. You work at Carrabba's, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
For a little bit. And then from there, you open this brunch restaurant, which has been heralded. By the way, Travis, I'm gonna challenge you. The next time we are at an event and you meet somebody from South Jersey, Philly area, just say the words Sabrina's Café and watch their response.
Yeah.
Because every single time we're out there and we need to, hey, here Philadelphia. Oh, you ever go to Sabrina's? Oh, I love that place. Every time. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So, but how did the concept come about? Why did you decide to go from, working in leadership to now owning your own place?
Yeah. I think it started way back when, before you even think it started. I'm from Antigua in the Caribbean, really born in Grenada. And just being around my parents, I think I told the story so many times. My dad was a bank manager and always had cocktail parties at the house. And there were like 200 to 300 people coming in. Wow. And for some reason, I always just liked that feeling. And I would even be the bartender at times. I remember one time being like behind the bar and pouring all the drinks and serving. And just watching my dad, I think also servitude leadership. He was always taking care of the poor, just the person he is. And just, I felt when I graduated from high school, didn't know what I wanted to do. And he got me a job at a hotel with one of his clients. And I was going to be the hotel manager in training. Great, whatever that is. So anyway, I show up to work there, not knowing what I wanted to do or where this was going to lead, and put me in the water sports department. And I kind of like hopped around in different areas of the hotel, and just it felt magical. I immediately just felt, oh, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. I want to be a resort manager. This is it. I just clicked there. And working with all the teams at the hotels, Hawkswood Beach Resort, and just being around the people, being around the guests. And it was it wasn't really a job. It was just so much fun. Being on a resort is fun to begin with. And I just felt like this is where I'm going to end up somehow. And my mom came home. When I came home one day, she says, why don't you go to get a degree and be one of the only people that has a degree in hotel restaurant management. And there's a school called. My mom always found a way. She's always ahead of me, pointing me in different directions. That's what moms do, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
They point you. They see something, they point you there. And they go to Johnson Wales University, and then you can come back home and get a degree and work in a hotel. Great. Did that. Went to Johnson Wales, and that's where I met my wife Raquel. And everything changed, right? So, and then with FIU, and I think, you asked the question how it all started, and I would say that working in hotels like restaurants like Steak and Ale back in the day as a server, working at Lamberti's, local Lamberti's here, working as a manager and a server there, working in Paris Hotel Casino, and then joining the Carabas group for like 3 years. When you're doing it and you're working with independent and you see the passion that they're putting in, and you're saying to yourself, oh, this is, I could do this. I'm going to be good at this. I know I can be good at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it came kind of natural, right? Just talking and engaging with guests and the team. And when I was at Carabas, things kind of changed for me there. And I think you always need a champion behind you, and that was my wife, right? Pushing, let's do this, let's do that. I don't know if you met Raquel, very outgoing, easy to talk to, friendly, risk taker, and just wanted the best for me, for herself, for us. And Raquel met the landlord's secretary at where we're living. We're living in a condominium, and she said, "Oh, this place came up. I think you should go open a restaurant there. Take it over."
Just like that.
Just
Hey,
like
just
that.
start a
Yeah.
restaurant. Why
Right.
not?
Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Because when you're in the business, you're saying to yourself, listen, yeah, I'm either gonna stay with a company, grow within the company, or I'm gonna own this. And when you're around independents, like the Lamberti group, they just came, and I wouldn't say just came, but they're like second generation or first generation from Italy. They're hustling, they're making it happen, and you're feeling the energy, and you're saying, "Oh yeah, if they can do it, I can do this too." And in my mind, I think from a young age, I always wanted to be my own boss. I didn't like taking, oh, you do this, do that. I had a very hard time following others. So I'm going to do this my way. So I think that started at a young age. And I think circling back is when the opportunity came to open Sabrina's, I had left Carabas and was working for the Lamberti Group again. And I don't know if you ever had a feeling, Josh, I'm sure you've gotten the feeling, Travis, where you just feel like this is it. Like, you know that there's something within you that's just driving you because you just totally believe in yourself and you believe that you can do this.
Mhm.
And that's how I felt at that moment. I was just telling Spencer, my son, I was just dropping him off to the airport today. I used to travel this route to Delaware for 2 years, back and forth with a restaurant, because I had left Carabas to open the restaurant with my friend of mine. And I went from managing to serving again,
Yeah.
working on the line again. Like, I thought I was at my lowest point again at that stage of my life. So, where's this going to go? And then when Raquel had this brilliant idea, let's go check it out. And with her support and her belief in me and in myself, I just knew that this is the time. I've got to make that leap. And I think when you have that mindset of opening a business or doing something crazy, you just get a crazy amount of energy. And it just lasted. This energy has not, it's not as the same as before, but the energy of like just getting up and just going, let's go get it. I think, is how Sabrina first started. And then when we went to Sabrina's in an Italian market, that whole area, Josh, Travis, felt like going in a market back in Antigua. Where Saturday mornings, Sunday, I think it was like open up, you have everything is open. You go to the butcher, you go to the fresh fruit, the stands.
I can almost picture the sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, just like different people talking over here, and there's like yelling, but like joyous and like vibe, right?
Beauty and the Beast, Marie the Baguette.
Yes, it's a vibe. It's a vibe, and everyone was so friendly on the Italian market. Hey, how you doing? And you just got to know everyone, and Raquel, of course, you know, just became like a place to hang.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's a little bit of the Sabrina's
Yeah. How it
start.
started. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
So
And why
Robert,
was it? Go ahead.
I was going to say, so you talk about the feeling, like getting that
Yeah,
feeling, and I know
yeah,
Josh has had that feeling. I know I've had that feeling.
yeah.
My wife painted a canvas, as a gift a few years ago, because one of our favorite quotes is an African proverb: "Leap and the net will appear." Right? It's like, and it's like when you get that feeling, you're like, oh
Yeah,
shoot, like it's
yeah,
time to leap,
yeah,
and like you pray that there's a net. Sometimes there's
yeah,
rocks, and even when you hit the rocks, it's like, oh, this is what I was supposed to do, right? It's the leaping is what we're supposed to do. The destination isn't always. We just can't control that.
right.
So for people listening, I think for most people listening, Robert, that the courage, to take that leap is so difficult. And you talk
Yeah,
about that belief and everything. And what we don't always hear is, you take that leap, and often things get harder before they get easier. When you took that initial leap, what
yeah.
was that smack of reality that you immediately felt, like when the belief is fun and then the actual doing is like, oh shoot, what have I done? Right? Was there one of those moments when you took that
I,
first leap?
no, I don't recall that. I think what was happening is that throughout my entire career, I always, you remain optimistic. Yeah, you have but I think that I was preparing myself for this moment, not even realizing I was preparing myself for the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was always acting as an owner. I didn't really think of myself as a manager
Mm.
or a general manager. I always thought, oh, I'm the owner of this place. And so everything I did, it seemed natural. So when I actually started doing it for myself, I wasn't acting. This is just who I was. So I didn't think I had that moment of like, what the hell did I do? It was always, I better get this right.
Mm.
I better. It was fair too, right? Because my wife had a job, so that was less pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the fear of losing or the fear of not meeting the challenge was, I was up at, I don't know, just like every business owner when they first start, you just get up, you just grind it through. You really don't think of the negatives. Because I think if you did, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You just have to just do it, right? I think later in life you start making all these, oh, what if? But I think when you're younger, you might be a little stupid, but at the same
Yeah.
time,
There's a
more
little. There's
more
a little bit
more
of
hubris, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
ignorant courageousness almost, right?
right.
But it's amazing though too, because you were talking about one of the things I love is that you were saying, "Hey, I'm going to be an owner before I'm an owner,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think we see that all the time in the world of sports, where people have to be a certain way before they start acting like that.
Yeah.
So they choose that mindset of I'm going to be a champion, and then they do the things that champions do, and then eventually they become a champion. But they're being it, they're embodying it first. And I think one of the things that you do hear about Sabrina's, I'm telling you, it's I'm not blowing smoke here. Like when you do talk to people from Philadelphia, like, oh, I love that place, and the reason that they love it is because there is a feeling to it. There is an energy to it. And I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about that.
Sure.
Especially, the restaurants are hard. They fail more than any other business in the world. Travis, his father was a restaurateur as well. So, he knows
You know the
he knows
deal.
the world. Obviously, I worked in fine dining for 10 years in New York City. So
Yeah.
it's all the challenge of it, but also the glory of it too. Like there's so many skills you learn being in a restaurant when you work in a restaurant. But for you, like, what have you done intentionally? Because success doesn't happen by accident, right? You've done things intentionally to create that vibe. So can you talk a little bit about what you've done and the standards that you hold people to,
Yeah.
and how you get the staff? Just to be clear, right now
Yeah.
you have five locations, or is it
So
six?
there's six. There's
There's
six.
six.
and then the airport is our license, our first license agreement.
Mm.
Right.
So that's the 7th
Yeah. If you're ever
of
flying
Sabrina's.
through Philly and you see the
Yeah,
Sprinter cut, slide in, man.
No,
Go grab yourself an
absolutely.
amazing
exactly.
omelet or some chicken
Yeah.
and waffles. Good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what do you across all these locations? They all feel a certain way.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. How did you do that? How do you make that happen?
A lot of it is, when we first opened Sabrina's, Raquel was a huge part in the beginning, still is. When I say in the beginning like that, meaning that, you know, Raquel was in the front, I was in the kitchen a lot. And when we started Sabrina's, it was a restaurant called Molly's Cafe, and it was filled with artists,
Mm.
and they had their artwork on the wall. They had jewelry in a case. So even though they were servers, they were really truly artists.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in the business of restaurants, you're kind of an artist. You're creating something, and you realize, from your past life, or is that people bring energy and the vibe. And if you're good at just staying true to yourself and letting others bring themselves
Mm.
and letting them just be them, with, of course, following the process system behind the scene. I think that's how it all started. That energy and that vibe, and making sure that when we were going to different restaurants, that we had people with us from the first location that just kept populating to the other locations, and talking or just having conversations with them about what we're trying to do, and making sure that you're walking the talk, which is very difficult, right? Because back then I was striving for perfection, which was a killer, because it stresses the hell out of you, because I got
Yeah.
to be perfect. I got to be perfect. I got to be perfect in this, realizing that that's just unachievable. You're not going to get there, but you keep striving for it. So I think the word that we're using is excellence. Right? You keep striving for excellence. Um, but Josh, I think when you ask the vibe and the feeling, I think it really comes from the people.
Mm.
It's a place where you can really, we welcome everyone and anyone that has values similar to ours, and it just shows up in different ways, right? So it's truly an amazing place when you go into Sabrina's and you just sit down and just kind of like chill, and you can feel the energy. Just the other day, I was at the restaurant in Wynwood, and I was walking around, because I still like to walk to restaurants. It's like going to dinner. It's like talking to guests. Really, that's how I get my energy, is by being in the restaurant. I hate being in the office. Like, I go to the restaurant specifically to talk to people,
Yeah.
Right.
and to hear their stories. And just the other day, um, this lady pulled me over and said, "Are you one of the managers, the owner?" I go, "Yeah, a bit of everything, do it all." She said, "I just want to tell you that I know there's a lot of work that goes behind this."
You like just a little
I
bit.
go, "Yeah." I go, "But what do you mean?" She goes, "Just to see how everyone on the team is helping each other out.
Mm.
Something spilled, they're running over, they're helping the guest out." And she's talking like no one has everyone has a smile. There's no attitude. It was a great day, right? It was a great day. And she was saying, what's going on? Do you guys have a lot of meetings here? And I'm saying, we have a lot of meetings. We do. But we also have a lot of coaching going on behind the scenes too.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of coaching behind the scenes. And I didn't have that in the beginning of Sabrina's. It was more of, let's go grind it out and get it done,
Yeah.
and take care of the guests. And that was my first, working with the Carabas group. They had this, I can't remember the circle, but they always say, take care of your team first, team take care of the guests, guests then take care of the vendors. It's
Yep.
all about relationship building.
Yep.
And in my first, I was always about the guest in the very beginning for a while. And I sacrificed at times my team's needs.
Yeah.
I just, ah, make
Yeah.
the guest happy, make the guest happy.
Yeah. 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 Well, it's funny, Robert, that it reminds me, I know, Josh mentioned, I grew up in restaurants. I grew up in fast food restaurants in Michigan. And my dad was the owner, and he was, it was family first. It was create an atmosphere. But the thing that was really missing that you pointed out was the coaching aspect.
Yeah.
His mindset was like, just, what the right thing is, just do it. Like, why aren't you doing it? Like, why aren't you doing it the way that I do it?
Yeah.
And I could always see like, well, I mean, it's like, oh, what's missing was that coaching component, and coaching that's based on some core values. And so when Josh sent me your core values, Robert, I was like, ooh, I want to know more about these core values.
Yeah.
And, Josh was hinting earlier that, with a lot of teams and organizations that we work with, everyone has values, but then there's always not a clear path of how those values are turned into specific behaviors.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at your core values. And by the way, one of the best books I've read in the last few years is Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Goddard. And I look at your first value. Enlighten hospitality.
Yeah,
Okay, so I've got enlighten hospitality. Yes. Enlighten hospitality.
Yeah.
Integrity, passionately committed. I love that. Yeah. Family driven, and accountability. So just tell us a little bit about, maybe you don't have to talk about each value, but of those values, like why and how do you bring those to life as behaviors?
Yeah, great question. So the core values started, I think, maybe 10 years ago. And I hired a consulting group, and we need to get the core values of the whole thing. And sat in a room with like 10 of us and started throwing all these words on the wall, and we picked these 5 things. And it was really an extension of who we are that we were putting on the wall. And we weren't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for the core values when it first started. I didn't even put it up anywhere. We just put it in a book.
Yeah.
In the employee handbook. These are our core values. We didn't even talk about it, right? Talked about it for maybe 3 months. And COVID came, and that was another pivotal point in my life with Sabrina's, or just life in general, was when COVID came, because we shut down for 2 weeks and had to call all the vendors up and call everybody. Go, yeah, no one's getting paid. What do you mean? I go, you're not getting paid, right? I paid the team, called the vendors up. We're going to stop payment up. And I think the relationship I had with all our vendors, they said, okay, they're in the same boat. We figured it out. And that's where I met Dan Swinehart. Just so happened that Dan was in a coffee shop. He was a customer. He's a fractional CFO, but Dan has done a lot of great things and believes in all the stuff that we're doing. And that's how I got to meet Josh through Dan. And Dan, it's amazing how when you meet one person that just keeps opening up different doors for you, and then you realize, wow, okay, I have someone on my team finally, right, that kind of can help me, hold me accountable, and open these different doors to different people to do different things. But getting back to the core values, when you had to close for COVID, I had the same feeling that I had when I first opened Sabrina's. All those feelings came right back. That energy, that drive, calling Raquel and saying, you got to get in the restaurant. And Sabrina's in a restaurant, and Red Spencer's in a restaurant, and we're in the restaurants. And she's saying, we could do this. We'll figure it out. And then looking at the team that we had, Josh, the Eileys and the Billies, and I don't know if you met a couple of those other people who were with us, and then calling them up and saying, we're opening 3 restaurants, keeping 2 closed. I need you guys more than ever. We're going to go to the different restaurants. We're going to collect all the food we have in the fridge, whatever canned products. We'll start moving it around to keep all the restaurants open. And then telling everybody, yeah, I'm going to give you a 10%. We're going to take 10% from your paycheck. And then, you know, when we reach that point, I'll do everything I can to bring you back up whole.
Yeah.
And then when you saw everybody just starting to like pitch in, that was like, okay, I can't run the business the way I was running before. It's core value time.
Yep.
And that's when it just started to really, I would say, get on fire. Was that moment of, okay, what does enlightened hospitality mean? What does accountability mean? For me, my favorite one is enlightened hospitality. It's again a feeling through a behavior, and the behavior has to be organic, has to be genuine. You really want to take care of people. Like I want someone when they walk through our doors that they know that we're so grateful that you chose us out of all the other restaurants to come and dine with us. That you don't know how that makes me feel. That I'm going to make sure I'll do everything I can to make you feel that how much appreciation we have. We're grateful for you to come in, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure your experience from the time you enter to the time you leave. A lot of us forget how important leaving is. It's a missed opportunity. See you later. It's more like thanks for coming in. See you again. And it's light hospitality for me is one of, it comes easier for me. Accountability, that's my opportunity. You know, that's why we have other people around to hold me accountable and do better at it. But yes,
That's so good.
yeah,
That's so good. Yeah, it's amazing too. I mean, I think, you know, one of the things that you've done over the years that I see is that you when there is friction or dysfunction or anything to that nature,
yeah,
one of the things you've done really well is you've come back to the values to be like, hey, which of these values is out of line right now? Right. Where are we missing on our, and you use that values to help. It's like your North Star. Right. If you get a little bit lost, you go, oh, okay, this isn't working. Well, why not? Let's go. Oh, it's an integrity issue. They're saying stuff, but they're not doing stuff. Yeah. It's an accountability issue. They're not getting the stuff done on time, you know, or even, you know, family driven. I think that's one of the, can you talk a little bit about that one for me for a second? So how do you view, when you say family driven, you know, because some of us have come from really dysfunctional families. Not me, but you know,
it gives you a wide berth to go, hey,
wide berth. I'm sure people on this listening to this. Yeah. So what does that mean to you though? Like as you hear that, like what is that? Yeah. How does that live?
So family driven is because we always treated everyone like family. As Josh said, dysfunctional family, right? And Sabrina's has been a dysfunctional family. It just is. Anyway. However, I think that we have gotten better at being more of the organized chaos. You know, something just happened the other day, you know, not well, and you know, someone lost their son to it was very traumatic, personal, and how this person lost their son, and to see everyone just rally around this individual, the outpouring of support that he got from not just his restaurant, but the whole company, right? Of just reaching out, checking in, doing whatever they can for our manager who lost his son. I think that's really the family driven. Like we treat everyone like family that way. But it's also tough because it's hard to fire your family. It's hard to hold your family accountable, right? And so, I've heard many times, oh, you shouldn't have that as part of your core values. Family. If you're going to scale a business, so, run a business like a business, don't put family in there, put team or something. So, um, and that's one of the core values that we struggle with a lot. I would say is family driven, because we do care so much about each other. And at the same time, we have to make sure that we understand that we're running a business.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one, but not but, right, Josh? And we take
See, Travis, see, there
I
it
love
is.
it. I
Yes,
love
and.
it.
Yes,
Yes,
and.
and.
Yes,
All right,
and
Robert.
and we want to. I think you have to evolve, right? So why is it that, maybe Josh asked you a question, why is it that, or is it okay, or is it normal to say, we're going to drop this core value, I'm going to add something else because this core value is not either giving us what we want, or we don't think it really aligns with who we are today, without losing the essence, like this guy, right? So I think family driven is one of those that we want to make it community driven or
Yeah.
team driven.
Yeah.
As the group gets bigger and bigger, right? How much, and the way people are thinking today, do they really want to join another family, or do they just want to come in, be part of something? But it's okay not to say, I don't want Sabrina's to be my family. I just want to be part of a group.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing a lot coming out of the younger hires.
Well, it's interesting though, right? Because it's like there is a vibe. When I hear the word, when I hear family driven, you know what I think about? Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Like and like everybody around the table, Uncle Billy over there having a little bit too much to drink, like all those types of things.
Yeah.
And like, that when you hear family driven, it kind of, like, again, it goes back to what we talked about, the vibe. We always used to say in Chicago with the Cubs, we say, hey, protect the vibe, the vibe, because the vibe is this, like, again, it's this unquantifiable thing, but people feel it. Right. And when they feel it, they want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think so that's where, I mean, like, I get that whole piece of like family, right? Family is like, because it's hard to fire your family. And you hear it now in a lot of the, business books and the business podcasts. Hey, whatever, don't use family because it's tough to fire your uncle or whatever. Right. But
it should be tough. Right. It should be tough.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where I always push back on the people that bemoan when people want to build cultures around family, Robert, because they're like, it's almost like, we don't want to get into there's a level of separation that we want to give ourselves permission to have. And I'm like, what, the family is tough. Family is messy. Family is grace. Family is forgiveness. Like, we would beat again, like going back to our family business, like the number of times my dad would give second and third and fourth chances to people who had no right deserving that. And we would kind of beat them up. But at the other part of me was like, this is amazing. Like, that's family. Family is giving people chances when they don't deserve second chances, because you know what? Where else are they going to get that kind of grace and forgiveness in their life? And if you aspire to run a business, that people get that kind of messy love, that they're, and what are people striving for more right now in this generation, in this world right now? What's the pandemic, endemic, whatever you want to call it, that we're experiencing in the world right now? People with a lack of belonging. People don't feel like they belong. They're looking to belong. And so without even being in your restaurant yet, Robert, and I say yet because it's a priority now, it's the one thing I can tell when I step foot in there is that this is a group of people who feel like they belong. And you talked about you want them to bring their authenticity. And that they're artists, and the feedback from the store is that people have each other's back. And whether people want to call that team, or they want to call that family, or they want to call it whatever, like that is a rare thing in the world, in the industry. And the fact that you aspire to it, and maybe it's messy, like I like say yes, bring it
Yes.
on.
Bring it on. Well, it's like when you're just thinking further, and even at the family, the dinner table, or where and the breakfast, you're going at it with your family members, and they're just giving it. They're giving it to you, right? They're holding you accountable.
Yeah.
They're calling you on your shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if you're in my house, with my wife, she will just tell you the way it is, any time of the day. That's just how she communicates, and it's tough love.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
that,
I
yeah.
think that's what it is, right? I think it's tough love. I think you can have that part. So I guess just for some talking more, and it's not a final decision we've made, but maybe it's just called in parentheses tough love.
Yeah.
So
I was just gonna say it's called tough family. Just
Yeah.
tough family.
Yeah. Messy. Yeah. Messy.
You're
Messy.
brilliant,
Yeah.
family.
bro.
But we know obviously the research behind psychological safety, right?
Yeah.
The highest performing teams have the highest levels of psychological safety. Psychological safety is people that have, for quote unquote, gone through the battles together.
yeah,
That's how you develop psychological safety, and that's why families can be so honest with one another, is because they've gone through. And I mean, what that is a restaurant experience, right? Going through those battles together,
Yeah.
and then realizing like, who can I trust when things get rough, and who can I? But that's where those relationships are forged. They're forged in the messiness, not just keeping everything at a hand's distance corporate level. So
Yeah, it's interesting too, because one of the things on your beautiful website, it talks about your hosts, and it talks about how you wanted to leave that corporate world, and you didn't want that space, you didn't want those, that distance, you did want it to be authentic and close. And I think again it's vibe, right? It comes back to that, this like unquantifiable thing that makes a difference.
Yeah, because you when you say that people want to belong, I think people always want to belong. I think that's always, Josh, you always like to remind me that people want to be praised, or they want to be appreciated, or they want to be valued, right, for what they contribute, and in order to lead, then you got to get close.
yeah.
Right, you got to break down the walls of the individual, like what really makes you tick. And I think that it's kind of like a family, kind of getting back to that family vibe. It's like, all right, what do you really want out of this, or what's preventing you from being your best self here at Sabrina's? Because I always try and let everyone know that when they join us, I know that this is for most of us. It's a journey to get to another destination, or so this passing through Sabrina's, right? But our vision of Sabrina's is that we're developing, a diverse group of hospitality leaders. That's the vision of Sabrina's, right? Because I believe that if you are operating in hospitality in your life, that you will be rewarded in different areas of your life. And just by meeting Josh and the way he communicates and all the great questions he always asks me, it's like, it would be amazing if we were exposed to this at a younger stage of our life. Like, imagine if you had this like in, I don't know, middle school or high school, where it was just a class towards hospitality, and you kind of incorporate all these wonderful things that Josh has shown us, right? How we would all be able to communicate with each other better, because, as they say, was it 55% is body language versus verbal? I'm not sure if I got the number right. Yeah, you're right. When I'm talking, my hands are talking, you're hearing my tone, right? You're picking up on all these things. So hospitality is kind of like weaving through the whole process. So I really believe in that.
It's amazing, Travis. So one of the things about Sabrina's is they did they looked at how many people they served last year, and it was the entire state of South Dakota. They had served that many people had come through their restaurants.
That's a crazy catering service there that you got.
Yeah, they do. Huge. Because he's gonna open up the branch there. But Sioux Falls, look out. But one of the things that hit me with it, right, is Robert just talked about hospitality, right? And then imagine if all of our leaders, like if the leaders of the world had been trained in hospitality, and their whole thought process wasn't like, how can I get reelected? It isn't, how can I look good? It isn't, and I'm not talking about either party here. This is just kind of like, or even leaders of major corporations that have millions of people working for them. Like if they came from that world of like caring for each other, wow, what a different place this would be. And so it's kind of cool that like the impact, we always talk about impact here at Limitless Minds in terms of, we want to impact 1 billion people, right? And so you talk about that impact that people have from getting an unbelievable omelet, right? Like think about that. You go into a Sabrina's and you're in a bad mood because you got stuck in traffic. It's raining out. You got this meeting that just popped up on your calendar you don't want to go to, and you roll into Sabrina's for breakfast, and the person meets you with a giant smile, and they take care of you. Right? How often do people just want to get taken care of, And it's like, and here's this opportunity to do that. And now, in addition to that, I'm developing these hospitality driven leaders. Wow. Who knows where those kids are going to go and those people are going to go in the world. It's pretty, like, nobody thinks about stuffed French toast as an altruistic endeavor, but it kind of is. It kind of is.
Yeah. We haven't really touched on the food part of Sabrina's at all. You're talking about, all the other things. The restaurant, we're serving food. I mean, that's what we do. We serve food. We don't talk about food at all. So, when we brought on like a culinary director and Mark Noel and someone that's just focused on food, then you start seeing that, how better you're going to be in this one area. And we're striving for excellence there, but people are coming in for good food. We can't forget that. They are coming in for the omelet, the stuffed French toast, and the pancakes, and it's got to be excellent, right? And we all know that when you're dealing with food, a green pepper is not always really green. A yellow pepper is not always really bright and yellow, right? And the garlic tastes different certain times of the year. It's a lot that goes in to make really good food. And why you're coming in to experience that, we're saying that the food, the team, the environment, the hospitality, it all comes together for the experience. I always remind everyone, we're not selling French toast here, guys. Everybody sells French toast. Everyone sells eggs. Everyone sells pancakes. All the brunch restaurants. What we have at Sabrina's is special. They're coming in for you, right? You're the reason that you're going to bring them back. So when you start thinking like that, then the magic happens, right? The food's got to be good. You've got to be good with the food, and the service has got to be good. I always say, we'll forgive food, but we can't forgive service. That's a big thing, and so there are a lot of little metrics that go behind the scene to make sure we're delivering on that. Yeah. And I would say, 85% of the time we're hitting it, and we continually keep striving. And I think that's a big mantra of Sabrina's, is continually improving. Yeah. Like we're continually improving. Like we're not there. We'll never get there. As Josh reminds me, it's the process, not the destination. And so that, right, just keep doing it. Yeah. And another thing I learned from Josh is success is boring. So it's because you keep repeating the same stuff every day. And I'm the worst with that.
Well, speaking of success being boring, since this, even though Josh forgot it, Robert, at the beginning of the podcast, that this is the Success Leaves Clues series. We're here. I've got his back. I'm clearly not pointing that out at all. I'm not trying to embarrass him at all. I'm just, just pointing it out that
he's just family driven right now. He's family driven.
We're just being a family. So, Robert, we like to end every podcast where Josh and I would like to speak back to you. What are the clues that we heard during this time
Oh,
that stand out to us, which is, kind of as you talk about what success looks like in your life and in your industry, what stood out to us. And so we would love to kind of gift these back to you right now.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Travis,
So
you get to start
I'm going
every
to.
time. Every time I start, Travis, I always steal Travis's. So Travis gets to start today.
Okay. I'm
well,
actively
That's my
listen here, right?
hospitality.
Right,
Did
Josh?
you?
yeah.
Actively listening here now is the
Yes,
right.
we're
Right.
actively listening, and that was my enlightened hospitality,
All right.
letting Travis go first.
All right,
Okay.
here's the first clue. And Robert, actually, I think you even, I think you really sort of encapsulated it in your last response. But sort of and you talked about this from your father when you were a child. The thing that hit you as a kid, working in the home, was the servitude, right? You said the word servitude, and how you sort of that you've carried that spirit of servitude and leadership. It looks like every step of the way into the environment that you've created. And like we talked about, it's when we think about leadership could be, oh, I've got to have the vision, and I've got to drive, and no, you have to serve, right? You were literally serving as a child. You were serving, right? Whether you were working the bar or just like,
Right.
you started off as the thing that you kind of fell in love with. It sounded like first was the energy and the vibe around serving others and how much joy that brings. So that's the first clue that stuck out to me, Josh.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would say the one that jumped out to me was, and knowing Robert, wasn't a surprise, but there's a level of optimism, but not in a level of like, oh, it's all going to work out, no big deal. It's like an optimism that drives action.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm excited to go get this done. I'm excited to be a part of this. I know what we can do. Let's go get it. Like it's an enthusiasm, I think, might be the right way. I mean, the value is passionately committed, right?
Yeah.
So it's even within that where there's this optimism and enthusiasm and excitement for the opportunity to do what he's doing, and building this brand and building this restaurant group and helping like serve others. So that jumped out at me.
Yeah. Well, Robert, you said everything changed when you met your wife. And
Yeah.
then you talked about she was a belief, a risk taker, just,
Right.
just having your back. And again, I think that's another clue. It's like we need to surround ourselves with people who not only who believe in us, who believe in what we're trying to create. And that's what building that culture, that mindset around us is so important. Josh, I know I'm stealing one of yours here. Always acting as if you're the owner. Robert, we already hit on it, but I think that mindset of you said you've been preparing yourself the whole time pretending that you were already the owner, right? When we talk to athletes, we say to them, hey, if you were a professional athlete, how would you prepare for this game today? All right, start acting like one, like start acting like one now. Ryan Sandberg used to say what, Josh?
Get ready to be ready.
Get ready to be ready, right? Get ready to be ready. And so I think just all those years of you already pretending that you were the owner, by the time that you are the owner, you've already been doing it for years. So now you just be it because you've been preparing for it.
Yeah. And I think for me, the last one is caring, as a leader, right? So we'll talk about success as a leader, and it's about caring. It's about caring for others first, like, and it goes in along with those servitude. But you can serve somebody and not care about them. Right. But like, there's a different level there for me that jumps out. There is a caring, there is a kindness, kind of leading with the heart first, which I think has gotten lost a lot recently in our society, is leading with the heart. So I think, yeah, that jumped out at me too. So what do we got? What are the four then? We got
we got servitude. Then you're
optimism.
Yep. We've got belief. Surround yourself with people that believe in you.
And then leading from the heart. Yeah. You do, listeners, if you do those, if you're a leader and you do those four things, like, you're not guaranteed success, but you got a heck of a better chance of getting it.
Yes. And your team. I think later on I realized that, you get nowhere without a team. I always thought, oh, I could do this on my own. I got this. I don't. But no, you need people. in your team.
What does Colin Henderson always say to us, Travis? No
one of us is
as
bigger
good
than
as
all of us. We always
No,
figure it out.
no one of us is as good as all of us.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Beautiful. Well, with that, I think we'll wrap this puppy up. We'll put a bow
right.
on it. And if you're in the Philadelphia area, Robert,
Can't wait.
can you just list off the area where exactly the restaurants are? We got the airport, and then where else?
Yes, you have airport. You have Drexel's campus, University City. You have in Wynwood. You also have a couple in Cowhill Street, and we also have Collingswood, New Jersey, on the Art Museum, Cowhill, Collingswood, New Jersey. It's nice town, Collingswood, right across the bridge.
There you go. So if you're in Jersey, South Jersey, or in the Philadelphia area, do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor and go have breakfast or lunch at Sabrina's Cafe, because it's a special time. It's good stuff.
I'm still thinking about that French toast.
Awesome.
You said French toast. I haven't stopped thinking about it since.
No, you don't even know, dude. If you have this thing, the stuff French toast. DJ Eidson, our founder, we were there. DJ and I were presenting to a pharmaceutical team, and we walked over to Cowhill to have breakfast, and he still talks about the French toast. This is literally about a year ago, and he just cannot stop talking. He can't describe it. He's just like, it was just the best thing ever. It was amazing. It's not even close out DJ talk, but whatever.
Yeah, he's not going to like that impersonation.
No, he's not. Now, number one brunch restaurant in Philadelphia for how many years now?
We've been around. Next year will be 25-year anniversary.
Wow.
So it's a big year next year for the city of Philadelphia, because there's also a 250-year anniversary, right?
Oh,
and then you have the the World Cup. FIFA is coming next year in the city.
Yeah.
And then you also have Sabrina's 25 years. But it's gonna be a huge year next year.
And you're in your 30th anniversary, so just big numbers all around.
Yeah.
Way to bring it back around, Travis. Good move. You can say their family.
My wife is right here, and she told me to mention that. She said, "Don't you forget the wife. Don't you forget the wife."
That's awesome. Travis, why don't you take us out of here?
All right, Robert. Hey, great. Thanks so much for your time. Love the inspiration. And Josh, as you know, this is the Limitless Minds podcast. What series is this, Josh?
Success Leaves Clues.
There they are. And as we love to say, you don't need to be sick to get better. Robert, have an awesome, awesome day.
You too. Found you guys.
Next
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Hey.